You know that, George. And as the Queen Mary, if you'll excuse the expression, plowed into New York Harbor, this large thing loomed out of the water. I don't know about you, but when anything large looms near me, I look it over. I looked up and said, what a lovely statue of Judith Anderson. But last night I was up till dawn, putting mud on my face till each wrinkle was gone. I poured on my head a solution of dye, and I dropped a belladonna into each eye. I plucked at my eyebrows till 5:15. Shit, that hurts. And then I set myself in to my reducing machine. I said to myself, Hermione, think thin, think thin. Oh my God, it's me, and I thought it was you, dear. Evidently my roll-on rolled off. I said to myself, Hermione, think thin, think thin. Then you have a lot of nerve to laugh, dear. Then I set all the dials. I'm looking for the knob, aren't we all? And I plugged myself in. Oh, have you seen the karaoke? It's not a foxtrot or a polka. What? Stop! Oh, kiss me, quick. Oh, that's an old gag, but I'm an old broad, dear. I woke up this morning and lo and behold, I was beautiful. My face was the face of a 20-year-old. I was beautiful. My eyes were like stars, my lips luscious red. That's how I looked as I hopped out of bed. I couldn't believe what I saw in the glass, for the image of me was a ravishing lass. Ah! Oh my God, I thought it was an old man with a bloody mouth looking at me. It is an old man with a bloody mouth. Those shots are starting to work. Not really.
Oh, Miss Kingo!
Oh, Rollo!
How do you keep your youth?
I lock him in a closet.
Send these the homeless tempest tossed to me. I live, I laugh beside the golden door.
I'd like to take this torch and shove it. Give it to Uncle Sammy, love it. Point my finger at the USA and say, oh, after all these years.
Good evening. On location at the newly decorated grand finale, this is Frank O'Dow. Joining me is Mr. Lynne Carter, a man who has virtually become a legend in his own time. Mr. Carter has contributed tremendously to an art form that has made him perhaps one of the best-known female impressionists in the world today. Hello, Lynne Carter. How are you?
How are you?
Lynne, you refer to yourself as a female impressionist as opposed to a female impersonator. Could you explain the difference, and is there a difference?
Oh, there's a great difference. Should I hold this? Or,
Yeah,
all right. There's a great difference because a female impersonator just does a woman, doesn't do character work. I do impressions of actual people. In other words, if a guy just put on a dress and he did a strip, it's just a girl doing a strip, you see. That's just impersonating a female. But I impersonate famous ladies, and they are impressions of these ladies, and they're satirical. So I do impressions. I don't just do an impression of just a woman, you see.
I follow fully. Lynn, is that your real name, Lynn?
Yes.
Where are you from?
Cleveland, Ohio.
My favorite city.
Oh, sure. Everybody loves Cleveland.
How long have you been performing approximately in this art form?
Oh, well, I'm getting close to my 35th year.
In this business as doing what you're doing?
Yes.
Quite an innovator.
Well, I broke a lot of ice, so to speak, in different directions. I was the first one to play Las Vegas. I was the first one to ever play the main hall in Carnegie Hall. I was one of the very first to ever go on television. Been a lot of firsts in a lot of areas. When you try to think of just what they are, like I'll go home tonight and I'll say, oh, I could have told him this and that. Gee, that was a first, that was a first. But right now I can't think
I'll
of
do
it.
the same thing. I'll go home and ask myself, I'll think of a lot of things I should have asked
Why didn't I ask him this? Why didn't I ask him? I know.
Nowadays, a really good female impressionist is a welcome art form, but what was it like, say, 25 or 30 years ago? What type of audiences did you play to, and what was it like, harassment or regarding you?
I wasn't, I really wasn't harassed, but it was tough. You were subjected to the less than attractive clubs. They were the lower caliber. You were looked on as something like, well, let's go slumming and let's see this show. This is going to be, you know, skanky. And, you know, today, if you have something to offer, you can be presented in a decent room. People come to be entertained, and that's really where it's all at.
Well, I'll say, my
You
God, this is a perfect example of it.
I never wanted anything in my life but to entertain people and make them laugh. I knew at an early age in my career, I took one look in the mirror and I said, you sure ain't pretty, baby. So you better be funny or you better be fast.
Phyllis, it had to be you.
Are you ready? Thank you, Shirley and Laverne. Do you think this is too busy? I would say, if you don't know what color to wear them all. A pretty girl doesn't have to push it, but I think I've pushed it as far as it's going to go. I'll tell you, in fact, when I was rehearsing in this dress, they said, why don't we screw her in the ceiling and revolve her for ballroom dancing? I think that's what they said. But I did try to look good for you. Oh, hell yes. You know, I went to the beauty shop today. I spent all day in the beauty parlor. Never got waited on. Oh, hell, I teased this thing so much it snapped at me. Oh, but you know, I used to wear my hair a different way. I used to wear my hair parted from ear to ear. But I got tired of people whispering in my nose. And they didn't like the snotty answers they got either. But I am so glad to be here. I came here from Los Angeles, La La Land. And to get on a plane out there, don't ask. It was wow. They search you up and down and up and down and up. It felt so good I went back in the line 15 times. I said to my traveling companion, Horace, he's my hairdresser, dear. I call him Sister Hate. Bitch can burn a root by looking at it, you know?
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Marlena Dietrich.
I don't go too close to the pit anymore. Every time I do, I fall off the stage. I don't understand that. You're the queen in my coffee. You're the salt in my too. You will always be my necessity. I'd be lost without you. There they are, boys. Falling off stage again. What am I? Do-do. I am black and blue from 40.
Just an hour and a half away in Atlantic City, New Jersey, is the most all-inclusive gay complex in the Northeast. The Grand Central Resort features over 175 beautiful rooms, including penthouse suites. And just an elevator ride away, the Showbiz Lounge with spectacular stage shows, the After Dark Piano Bar, Atlantic City's famous M&M Disco, and right on the premises, Club Baths Atlantic City. Right off the boardwalk, the Grand Central Resort in Atlantic City. For reservations, call 609-344-1922. Come on down. The Grand Central Resort is no gamble.
You may find it slightly difficult locating Jan Walmans, but when you do, you'll cherish the discovery. Jan Walmans, located at 28 Cornelia Street, where 6th Avenue meets West 4th. Jan Walmans, a legend in the village. Keep good memories with good music. You'll find it at Happy Tunes. Happy Tunes, 53 West 8th Street, in the village.
You know, in this field, it's much easier to sell comedy in a dress than it is anything serious. When people see somebody, a guy in a dress, taking themselves too deadly serious, they think, oh man, he's like getting kind of sicko, you know?
Serious drag with lip sync.
Right.
Heavy numbers.
And it kind of turns me off too, because we're all guys. What the hell? I don't want to be a woman. It's just so that it so happens I earn my living this way. I don't run around in girls' clothes. I have no desire to run around painted on the street or anything like that. In fact, it's rather embarrassing when I see it. I don't put it down. It's working for those people that do it, you know, fine. But it embarrasses me. And I guess I never had a chance to have flaming years, so to speak, because I went right to work in nightclubs. And I guess through my work on the stage of being flamboyant and funny and wearing crazy clothes and costumes, I got my flaming out that way, perhaps, you see, where some kids don't have that opportunity.
You mentioned grand dames earlier. Over the years, who are some of the women that you have portrayed, and who would your favorites be?
Well, of course, the woman who started me really being a professional was Pearl Bailey. And Pearl came into a club I was working in Chicago. It was the strip club at Clark in Ohio. Rough and tough. I mean, they didn't make it any tougher, baby. You know, like 26 girls and me. I'm the only one that didn't take my clothes off. And I thought, oh my God, when I get on, these guys are going to throw the beer bottles at me, because I mean, it was a tough place. You wouldn't walk in there. You'd say, oh, later, you know. And I went in, and I was honest. I walked out and I did my comedy and didn't pretend to be a girl. They knew right off the bat I was a guy. And these guys started laughing. And I think it was a welcome relief from like one stripper after another, after another, after another. And I came out, I did something different, very funny. And gosh, I worked that room for about 20-some weeks. And God forbid, some guy would say something wrong to me. Why, they'd take baseball bats out from behind the bar and kill him. Sure. Because they liked me. I shot square with them. I did my job. I played the game straight with them, you know, and I think that's where it's at. You shoot straight with people, they shoot straight back with you. Of course, it's a whole new bag now. People are they're coming out of their shell. They're more educated. The television media has done a lot for that. They're realizing that I think a lot of the puritanical ideas that we lived with for so many years were very good for the Pilgrims, but gee, they've been dead a long time, honey.
Not good for me.
God, you can't make it with those Pilgrim collars and those buckled shoes, you know.
Sure.
Let's not worry about them, too, with those Peter Pan collars and those buckles on their shoes. They couldn't have been all straight dressing like that.
Lynn, do you write
I
all?
worry about Santa Claus, too. You know, nobody wears that much red velvet and white fox fur. It says, ho, ho, ho.
On the subject of these lines, Lynn, do you write all of your material? Do you write most of it, some of it?
Well, I would like to take that credit, but I can't. I do write some of it. But the biggest bulk of material has been featured, written for me by some of the finest writers in the country, who I'm very proud to say are dear friends. That makes it even nicer, you know?
Sure.
Because some of them...
I think it's the way you present it, too. I think you flatter them.
They wouldn't write for just anybody in a dress, so to speak, you know? Sure. But they believed in me, and they felt that their material would be done and done right, and done on a certain caliber, a certain level, you know?
I hope they go right on believing in you. You've got some very funny lines.
Thank you very much. I know a lot of you have been saying, Betty, what have you been doing with yourself lately? Well, I'm not into that. After all, there's not much left to do after a burnt offering. Except go to Hollywood. I can't wait for you. And they came alive up there. Well, except to go to Hollywood and pick up a wonderful award. The mothball fleet really turned out that night. But Hollywood is definitely dead. All the stars are now out on tour with musical reviews. Broadway musicals in summer tents running down silly little ramps over mud puddles and all that stuff. Or they're working nightclubs in Las Vegas. I think if they can do it, why can't I?
For the last year, there have been rumors running all over the place about your health. Could you, once and for all, I have an audience that is just dying to get the right, not a rumor this time. What is the story on that?
Well, I had 2 heart attacks within 10 months' time, which just about destroyed me, mentally as well as physically, because I'm a very active human being all my life. I don't know what it's like to walk a show or to say, oh, well, I just won't move because I know I'm not supposed to because I'm not well. I can't do that. I didn't do it tonight, and I never will. They were very bad heart attacks, and I'm going to have a heart operation. I'd like to. My manager is trying to keep me working till about the first of the year so I can get a little money together so that when I'm recuperating, I don't have to worry about the phone bill and the rent and, you know, all that jazz. I live with reality. Mm-hmm. My feet are very much on the ground. And, yeah, you see my pink shoes? Get that? They're pink. You want to know why they're pink?
Why are they pink?
Anything to get the attention off my face. But, you know, I'm going to go for the operation, but I want to spend Christmas and New Year's with all my dear friends, because if the operation doesn't go well, I may not be with them for another Christmas. And if it does, then I'll be with them many Christmases, you know.
You'll be with us for several Christmases to come. You're going on tour now, aren't you? You're up to
yes,
Philadelphia?
We're going to Philadelphia. And may I just say one more thing about, I don't want to dwell on my,
Please do.
my health problems, but we played my first nightclub engagement after I got out of the hospital was back in Philadelphia, and I had my last attack right after I closed in Philadelphia. So the whole town really turned out. They were so wonderful. And on opening day, we were rehearsing, and this woman came in. She says, I want to see Lynne Carter. And she had a piece of paper in her hand. I said, oh, my God, it's a processor. I didn't know whether to say, you know, like, okay, I'm Lynne Carter. Let me have it, you know. So finally I said, oh, well, look, I might as well face up to it. If it is, it is. So I went over and I said, I'm Lynne Carter. And she said, well, you don't know who I am, but I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Ruth Wartell. And she said, that won't mean anything to you. But she said, let me explain who I am. She says, I am Ruth Wartell, and I am president of Deborah Foundation of the Heart and Lung Center. And she said, I read in the paper where you're working to pay for your operation. And she said, these papers I'm giving you now gives you your operation on Deborah. We're going to pay for everything. And I think it's a wonderful thing.
Say, that's a wonderful thing.
And
Mercy.
I won't forget their kindness. I'm going to do all the charitable work I can for Deborah because they ask no questions. They don't want to know whether you're straight, whether you're gay, whether you're green, whether you're black, whether you're white. You need help, and they want to help, and they did it. And I cannot forget their generosity.
I don't know how to follow up on that. That's Lynne, it's been lovely talking with you. You are a wonderful man and a wonderful performer. What do you say? I'm Frank O'Dowd on location with Lynne Carter at the grand finale. Mr. Carter will be appearing here through Saturday. What is the date? Through this coming Saturday. If you catch it by the...
We close that.
When?
I don't know. My manager knows everything. I don't know anything.
This coming Saturday. We don't even have our dates together, but this is Frank O'Dowd signing off with the Emerald City. Thank you. Good night, Lynne.
Thank you.
Bill! Oh, Bill! You know, I'd love to kiss ya, but I just washed my hair. We've shared a moment, and as this magic ends, oh, I have a feeling, we're parting now as friends. Your cheers and laughter will linger after they've torn down these lovely walls. You know something? People say I was made for this. Nothing else I would trade for this. And to think I get paid for this. So give me a wig, give me a gown, give me a Carter who acts like a clown. Name of the game is that we all had a hell of a ball.
Special thanks to Walter Kent of the Beacon Baths for his continued support. Also thanks to George Winter, Fred Grades, and a hand to Ronnie White on the piano at Jan Wallman's. This tape was edited at Technosphere. Good night.